In this video, I'm going to show you how to get out of a flare-up as fast as possible whether you're dealing with IBS, Crohn's, or colitis. I just had something called a healing crisis a few days ago where I was sick in bed for about 2 days, and I want to show you what I did to get through this healing crisis as fast as possible. So first, you have to understand what a flare-up actually is. We're gonna go over 3 things that are super important. Like if you don't know these 3 things, it's impossible to get through a flare up because you're just going to be stuck in this flare forever if you don't do these 3 things. And the first thing that you have to know is you have to understand, are you having a flare or a healing crisis? Are you stuck in the healing phase, part A, or are you stuck in the healing crisis? Now, what am I talking about? Now, we are not, you're going to have to think about this, what your condition is from a totally different perspective, because you know this as well, about that the holistic and modern medicine community don't know what they're talking about. So there's a few things we need to be aware of. So when we look at this, so this is when you're healthy and everything's fine, and then you're going to go into a conflict active phase right here. And you got to remember that all of our organs were designed for a very specific survival purpose. Now, what does your gut do? It helps you digest things, and it's controlled by the brainstem. It does not know the difference between things in your life, hard to digest things in your life. I can't believe that person did that. I can't stomach this. This person makes me sick to my stomach. Types of event like that. When you are conflict active in one of those events, your body's going to help you out by developing extra gut cells. And when these extra gut cells, they get developed, the conflict gets resolved. You no longer have to talk to that person. You get a new job. Something resolves that conflict, and then you go into the first part of the healing phase. Now, in this first part of the healing phase, we are getting rid of these extra gut cells. Now, people will often, so this is one definition for a flare-up. When they resolve this conflict, all of a sudden they'll start to get diarrhea, blood, and mucus, and pain. Okay? And this can last for forever, really, if we do not address the emotional root causes, because we're going to have a lot of tracks, a lot of things that remind us of this conflict. Maybe it was a bad relationship with our parents, and so maybe one week where things are good with our parents, we're in the healing phase, we're healing through it, and then we get in a fight with them again. And it just goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Another thing that tends to happen is right here, we start to get all these symptoms, and then instead of identifying what conflict started the whole situation, we're blaming foods. And so every time we eat these foods, we just keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Some people get stressed out about the Crohn's, the IBS situation themselves, and they're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Your brain controls everything in your body. So it's very important that we get the emotional issues down pat, and we understand this graph. Okay? This is very important. So the first type of flare-up, which can last a decent amount of time, for example, I've seen some people when they're doing things right, it lasts for a month or two. They just get diarrhea and blood in their stool and mucus in their stool for maybe a month, maybe or two, and it gets better and better and better and better and better. Granted that they're not running in the tracks and conflict relapses. Now, that is one type of flare, okay? And then in modern medicine, in holistic medicine, these flares go away when the person is in a good headspace. And then we have the healing crisis, this is something that I just went through, and they are not fun. So when you're going through the first part of the healing phase, water is being there's healing takes place on the organ level and on the brain level. So there's going to be water in the brain, and once the healing is complete, the water needs to get pushed out, and that process does not feel good. And this is when people feel really sick. This is usually when people go to the hospital, is during these healing crises. And a lot of people panic because they think, oh my God, things are getting worse and worse and worse. The biggest thing is getting a hold of the panic, because when your symptoms get worse is actually a sign that you have, on an emotional level, resolved this indigestible, this hard to digest thing in your life. And when you get these really nasty healing crises, the hard part's already over. So, but what do you do when you're in a healing crisis to help alleviate the symptoms? So when you're in a healing crisis, you're gonna have a fever. When I have them, I am like delirious, and it depends on what part of the brain the organ is controlled from. If they're in the temporal lobes, the person can be very disoriented. I was recovering from allergies, which is, I believe, controlled in that area of the brain. And I think I had something on the small curvature of my stomach as well. So I had a lot of inflammation, a lot of edema being pushed out of my brain in a day or two, and it was not fun. So what you want to do during this time is put an ice pack on your head. Put something cold on your head and just put it there as long as possible. We're going to want to keep our head cool. We want to keep our head out of the sun. We want to not take hot showers and hot baths. And we also want to sit in an upright position like this, because when you're lying down flat, the pressure tends to, or lying like that, the pressure goes straight to your head. So keeping the pressure off your head as much as possible. Like you'll notice when you sneeze and the pressure goes to your head, like it just feels like someone's like rattling your brain around. So we're really trying to manage that, and also taking some, like a little bit of stimulant, something with a little bit of caffeine can help reduce the swelling as well. And just realizing that that's what's going on, because it's the panic, guys, that really hurts people during these flare-ups, during these healing phases, because they think, oh my God, I'm in a flare, things are just gonna get worse from here, where it's actually the exact opposite. You are in a flare, you just resolved some big emotional thing in your life, and things are gonna get better if we manage the situation correctly. That's how we need to think about this. The last thing I wanted to talk about is, just accept the healing symptoms. Congratulate yourself when you get these healing symptoms. Don't blame the food. It is not the food whatsoever. You probably will get diarrhea during the healing phases, and that's okay. Your body is getting rid of these extra gut cells we no longer need again, and it is a matter of time before you go back to these solid stools. It just depends on how long you've been conflict active. I dealt with Crohn's on and off for like the past 10 years, probably even more. It's going to take a little while to go away. You guys just need to be patient and have faith in the system. Have faith in your body, and things will get better. So I felt pretty bad for about 2 days. I would say day 1 was pretty horrible. Day 2 was just me kind of recovering. And then this is day 3 now, and I feel absolutely fine. I think quite a few things got resolved. So what would I do? I was trying to think about like what got resolved. And so the past couple of weeks I've been doing a lot of research on how to deal with anger and a lot of other emotional issues from a biblical perspective, from looking at the scripture. And so I found a lot of good advice on how to deal with like kind of like the last small remaining problems that I had. My wife's also been suffering from depression, and so we made some big leaps forward with that the last couple of weeks. And then I was also recovering from seasonal allergies, like my eyes were super swollen and I had a super stuffy nose, which are also healing symptoms. And so for those healing symptoms to go away, I'm going to have to go through a epicrisis at some point. So I don't know if all those things happened all at once, or maybe I have another epicrisis to come. I'm not really sure. I hope not. But I do know something was healed, and I'm guessing it had something to do with the digestive system, because I was nauseous and I did have diarrhea these 2 days. So yeah, guys, I will be sharing with you guys later on the things from Scripture and other tips and tricks to deal with our emotional issues. I'm starting to see a very clear-cut pattern. There's like literally 10 things that I see people get stressed out about. They have anger issues, finance, career issues. They're going to have issues with their parents, issues with their spouse, and some people are stressed out about their condition themselves. There's a lot. These are essentially what I see people most often getting stressed out about, and there are very easy things that we can do to address these issues and make you feel emotionally a lot better about these things, which is how we get this whole thing going. All right, guys, I'm going to try to do a video a day, and I need some help. So go down below in the comments and make a video request. I know we have some people want it, they want eczema. So I'll do a video on eczema and dandruff soon. I actually have had some success with dandruff using German New Medicine, and I'll share that with you guys. And I've struggled with dandruff for a super long time. So I'll share with you what I did to get rid of my dandruff. And that's it, guys. Hit that like button, hit that comment button, hit the subscribe button, guys, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.